Marcus Wu said, imagine there is a huge army of well-trained, brave men. The army backs onto narrow trails, with mountains on one side and a river on the other. There is a deep gully defended by the enemy's powerful crossbowmen. Retreat is a safe option. To advance would be to enter a storm. The enemy is well supplied with food. A prolonged struggle is unrealistic. Wu Qi replied, quite a challenging scenario. This sort of situation requires more than just cavalry and chariots. It demands sage-like strategy. You would need a huge force with thousands of chariots and cavalry as well as infantry. Divide your army into 5 smaller forces and send each in a different direction. When the enemy sees this, they will be caught off guard and confused. If the enemy keeps to their position to shore up their defenses, send out emissaries to find out the enemy's intentions. If they are willing to withdraw, then your side should do the same. If the enemy does not listen, kills your messenger, and burns his letter, then attack at once with your 5 divisions. If you win the battle, do not give chase. If the tide is against you, retreat with all speed. In order to feign a retreat, move 1 division forward in an orderly fashion before engaging the enemy in a sudden attack. Use another 2 divisions to engage the enemy in front and cut off their retreat. The last 2 divisions should make a surprise attack on the enemy's positions from their flanks. When all 5 divisions attack at once, they will have a great impact. This is how one can assault a strong enemy. So Marcus Wu comes up with this fantastical, super hard situation, which is great. You need to strategize. But Wu Qi doesn't miss a beat. He comes back with, you would need a sage-like strategy, like the top of the tip of the most, pointed spear strategy with the most cunning and the most advanced, thought-out contingency plans all around. And he says, don't worry about winning. If this battle is not in your favor, retreat, right? He says, do not worry about giving chase. And if the enemy doesn't listen, then attack with all 5 divisions. Make sure that you have everything ready to go. But if the enemy doesn't listen, isn't willing to reason, don't waste time. But at the same time, if the enemy is undefeatable or the battle is not winnable, make sure that you know what your status is. Don't worry about dying gloriously in battle if you're not even alive to have the glory of the victory. So I think there's a lot to be said for this of you can come up with all of these situations, you can come up with all of these strategies, but at the end of the day, Marcus Wu says, well, what if this, what if that? And then Wu Qi says, well, really, it's going to depend on what happens when you send the messenger to the enemy. If they do this, then do this. If they do that, then do that. It doesn't really matter how many strategies you imagine and come up with in your head. At the end of the day, everyone has a plan until the battle begins.